All right, welcome to forecast video. Today we're going to be going over the expected impacts for Thanksgiving week here in the upper Midwest. Nothing too exciting is going on for the most part, so we're going to focus kind of on the regions of Iowa, Nebraska, the Dakotas, and Minnesota, and even western Wisconsin as well. Looking at the GFS model here, we'll just move this back in time real quick. Going to be pretty quiet for the next couple of days. Moving forward into the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, not much happening. A little bit of snowfall possible up here the 24th, 25th in the northern Dakota area and the northern Wisconsin, or northern Minnesota as well. But nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary for this time of the year. Our main interest is actually going to be on Thanksgiving Day, the 27th and heading into Thanksgiving Day, as we have this little swath of snow coming across the Dakotas, Iowa, and central Minnesota as well. As you see, we have some pocket of heavier stuff here towards the central Minnesota area, near St. Cloud and northern Minneapolis, and then we kind of head down towards Iowa as well, as you can see some of that heavier stuff near the central Iowa area as well, heading into the Dakotas on top of that. Nothing too out of the ordinary though, as we kind of move into late November and into early December. It's a couple swaths of snow here and there. Nothing too wild, nothing too heavy. Once we get further than about a week out in this model, though, things get kind of inconsistent as we head more out into La La Land. So we're going to stay out of that area for now. So now that we have snowfall covered out there, we'll look at temperatures. Temperatures for the area real quick aren't looking too bad for today, at least. As you see, we're sitting in the, actually some of the single digits up there in North Dakota, so that's kind of chilly. But as for this Minnesota to Iowa area, it's going to stay relatively normal for this time of year, as we have some upper 30s to mid 30s and upper to low 20s in the Iowa and South Dakota areas. Things are going to get interesting though moving later this week as we're going to skip forward here to about Thanksgiving Day. As you can see, it's going to get pretty chilly up in the northern portions of North Dakota and Minnesota, as we're sitting in the low 20s over here in the northwest corner near the Grand Forks area. And then as we go into northern North Dakota, this is where things get really cold. We've seen some of that Arctic blast effects starting to take over as we head into North Dakota. As you can see, we have 8 degrees up here, 5 degrees in the central area, and 11 degrees towards the northeast portion. It's going to get pretty chilly up there, as it's not going to seem to change as we head further into the end of November here. We can see we're having that big blast of Arctic air come down the 29th into the 30th, as we're going to get close to negative 15, negative 14, negative teens up here for most of the area in northern North Dakota, and headed down to like the mid negatives as we go into central North Dakota and northern South Dakota as well. So see, even as we get further east into more of the eastern states over here in Minnesota, we're sitting about 15 degrees in the eastern portions, 9 degrees in the western portions, and warmer as we head over towards Iowa, Nebraska, and western Wisconsin as well. Our coldest pocket of air will be up here in North Dakota. I'm going to bring this model a little further, but as I said, things get pretty inconsistent once we get about a week out. As you can see, we're having some huge plunges of cold air that keep moving south. In fact, here on the 1st of December, it looks like we get towards negative 20 degrees near western Minnesota. This probably won't happen, but it can give us a pretty good idea of what temperature is going to look like for this time of year. With temperatures covered, we'll move into the expected snowfall from the couple of systems we'll have. Skip ahead real quick to that one that's going to hit about Thanksgiving Day. You can see we have some trace amounts of snow over here in central Minnesota, nothing more than about half an inch as we head over towards like St. Cloud and the western portions of the state. Biggest areas of interest will be in the Arrowhead, actually, as we see that heavier portion in the Arrowhead of about 4 inches of snow sitting up here in the northern areas. But we'll see a bulk of that snowfall actually hit in the central Iowa. As you can see, we have 33 inches over here by Storm Lake area, and about 3 inches over in Ames, and going down to about 1 inch to 2 inches down towards the Des Moines area. A little bit of traces of snowfall once again up in North Dakota, nothing too wild though. 2 to 3 inches might be possible out here in the eastern parts, and just traces towards central and the northern portions of the state as well, but nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary for this time of year. Skipping ahead a lot towards the end of the week. Not going to go quite that far. It gets kind of out of control. We see that other system though that came down in GFS. We could have some heavier portions. Just ignore the 25 inches. That's an anomaly. These models aren't that accurate. But once again, it can just kind of give us a general idea of what we're looking at for snowfall. As you can see, headed towards the end of the week in early December, we have some of those Clipper systems coming through from the Alberta area. That's going to drop some moderate amounts of snow over the northern parts of the state. As we see, models are currently reading about 6 to 7 inches for anywhere up here in the Arrowhead and the northern areas as well, toward Bemidji and Ely. But once again, this is just an estimate and out of the question for now. I'll have updates on that later, though, as we head later into the week. Thank you for checking in. We'll see you next time.